How to get a better job in 4 steps. Hi everyone, Dan here from the Geek Physique. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. So step 1 is you want to list out your pros and cons from your current job, and you also want to list out your strengths and passions. So let me break this down. You're in a job, you want to make a move. That's why you click this video. So one really cool thing you can do to just get clarity on what you're looking for and what you're not looking for is just make a simple pros and cons list. And you can be as general or specific as you like. I don't care what it is. Maybe it could be you're good with talking with people, or like you like talking with people, sorry, engaging with people face to face, or maybe it's you like writing emails, or maybe it's you like doing admin or don't like doing admin. Whatever it is, get it down in a pros and cons list. Once you've written those out, and make sure actually as you're writing them out, you just brain dump. Don't even analyze before you write. Just brain dump, because you can consolidate and analyze later. Just get it on the piece of paper. Don't overthink it. Get it done. After you do that, what you can also do, once you've done that, if you feel like you already have enough information, you can actually go on to step 2, which is what I'm going to come on to in a second. But if you still feel like you need clarity, right? Okay, yes, I know what's good about my current job. I know what I don't want in another job, but I still want some clarity about where to go next. If you don't still have that clarity, you can make another list of your strengths on one side and your passions on the other side. Now, your strengths can come from an external source, right? What do people think you're good at? And you can even reach out to friends and family and people you currently work with, and do it. You can either do it in a quite direct way and just say, you know, I watched this video, I'm working on my next job move, and it gave me a really good exercise to do. You could be really direct and to say it like that, or you could be more indirect and just kind of take it from your own memory or from other conversations you're having. But you essentially want to write out what your strengths are, and you want to be quite honest with yourself about this. And that's why using external sources like your friends, family, people you trust, people that you respect their opinions, where you respect their opinions, that will help you write your strengths. And then you can write your passions in another list. And what you want to do is find where they intersect, okay? And let's say, again, using an example, you love engaging with people, and then people that you already work with or people that are close to you say you're so good with people. That is a clear thing that you should focus on, right? You love doing it and people think you're really good at it, so do it, right? And it may be in your current job you're not doing enough of that, or you want to do more, right? So just to recap, write down your pros and cons. You might already have enough clarity from that about where you want to go next. The second thing you want to do is, if you don't have, and this is still part of step 1, the second thing you want to do is write out your strengths and passions and where they intersect if you want some deeper clarity. Now, once you have those lists of your brain dump of all the things you're looking for, you're not looking for, the things you think you're good at, and the things that you're passionate about, I then want you to become a machine, and this is where we go to step 2. Send out X amount of applications and CVs every week. I say X amount because I want you to set the number, okay? Think of a number that you would do and that you could do, and that is the number you're going to shoot for. I would say a minimum of 5 a week, 1 every day, Monday to Friday, is easy for anyone to do. Again, you can always disagree with me in the comments if you don't agree and you don't have time, but I think anyone can do that easily, if not more. You could probably do more like 5 a day, but let's start small, build up, right? And the key here in step 2 is use the key words from the lists you created in step 1. Don't be so attached to the current position you're in, the current company, the current industry, none of that. Strip it all away if you have to. And just think about the keywords, because the great thing we have now is things like LinkedIn or other job sites, where if you just put in a keyword, it will come up with related jobs. Or even if you just start with a Google search, it will come up with related jobs. And I say just put yourself out there. If you see a job and you can only do 5 out of 10 things, put yourself out there. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, what if I'm not right for the job? Oh, what if it's not the right job for me? You're not going to know that fully until you apply for it and actually speak to someone. And that's where you can consolidate your thoughts. That's where they're going to obviously interview you. But part of this step is reframing your thinking about the interview process and sending out applications. Put yourself out there. And in doing that, you're going to find out what you want. You can interview them, and you can do it in a non-arrogant way, right? It's not about saying, I'm so great, tell me why I should choose this company. It's about, what about this? What about, I feel like I'm, people telling me that I'm really good with people, I enjoy engaging with people, so I feel like I'd be good in a client-facing role. Is that part of this role? And they go, it's really good that you said that, because that is a fundamental part of the role. And then oh God, we're onto a winner here, right? So that is what you want to do. Get out of your own way, take away your predispositions to what you think you should be doing or what other people think you should be doing, and take away all that judgment and use the lists from step 1 to start putting yourself out there. Set yourself a goal rather than thinking about the perfect job. Just get the CVs out there, the applications out there, and then you'll start getting interviews before you know it. Step 3, once you've started this process of finding out what you want, what you're good at, all of that good stuff from step 1, you've actually started putting yourself out there, it's another good time to actually map out where you want to be 3, 6, and 12 months from now, and where you don't want to be. I covered this in another video, which I'll link at the end, about how not to be a loser, but it's the same exact idea. So make sure that you have a very clear-cut, very scary, very exciting idea of where you do and don't want to be. So where you don't want to be, it should be scary, right? It should be painful. It should light a fire under you to keep pushing this process forward until you can find a better and better job. And you can rerun this process. You can rinse and repeat this whole process along your milestones. So when you have an idea of 3, 6, and 12 months, you could revisit this process. And I'm not saying to job hop every 3, 6, and 12 months, but you can reevaluate where you are at and where you want to be. And maybe you do find a great job and it's just about moving into a better position, but the reason you clicked on this video is to find a better job, but you get the idea, right? It's going to give you clarity and a rough life plan. People talk about this 3 to 5 year plan. I don't think actually that many people have an idea of that, especially when they're trying things out early in their career, or even if you're later into your current career and you really want a different move. Just focus on the very short to medium term goals first, and then the long term goals will come after. That's what I truly believe. So map that out, where you do want to be, where you don't want to be, get specific. Again, brain dump, don't overanalyze this stuff. Even if it's like, I'll feel like a loser, like I used to feel, get that down on a piece of paper. It then becomes powerful, it becomes real, right? And it's your story, it's not someone else's. Again, it's not what your parents think you should do. It's not what your friends think you should do, or your current job, or the people that you currently work with. It's what you do want and what you don't want. Now, step 4, and this kind of ties everything together nicely, accept there is no perfect job. There are only better jobs than you have had, and the better jobs that you're going to have are going to come with its own pile of crap. Even if you start creating your own businesses and you want to work for yourself, there's always going to be grunt work that you need to do to move the needle. There's always going to be manual, long, arduous tasks that aren't that enjoyable as part of any job. I truly believe that, because a lot of even sports people, they don't love all aspects of their training, right? Maybe they love the sport-specific stuff, but they hate the strength and conditioning. Or maybe actually they hate the sport-specific drills and they actually enjoy the strength and conditioning. Or maybe they just love competing and they hate the training altogether, right? But it's understanding what you're doing for the greater good. And in this case, the greater good is more of what suits you and less of what doesn't. That is the whole idea of this video. And putting all of this exercise of actually getting it down on paper and getting rid of all the predispositions you have of what you can and can't do and what people think you can and can't do, and just trying to make better moves every time you go. And I promise you now, you might make a move and it might be worse than the job you did before, like net overall, right? You might say, okay, yes, I'm getting more money. Maybe that's one of the things that you want more of, but actually you're doing a lot more hours and you don't think it's worth it. But that gives you clarity to then make your next move or work up into a better position that you would not have had if you didn't make that move. And that's the mindset you've got to have. Every step on the path reveals the next step on the path, rather than thinking, oh, if I go up, this is something my parents love to say, don't go out of the frying pan into the fire, right? They come from a different generation where there wasn't as much opportunity. Now I feel, again, feel free to disagree with me, that we have so much opportunity. And actually, to tie all these things together, again, and this kind of goes back to step one as well, most jobs these days, especially office jobs, are so transferable. There's so many skills you need across different jobs. And when you're in like novice to intermediate positions, let's say, I think it's very possible and accessible for most people to shift across to a different industry, doing a lot of the same responsibilities, but maybe the detail is slightly different, right? Like project manager. It's just about managing a project with resources over a time scale to meet milestones. That's what a project manager does, right? A really good project manager could do that regardless of the detail. I truly believe that, because you usually have someone to manage the detail, right? If the project's set up correctly. But that's just one role where you could be a PM in almost anything. And yes, it helps if you know the detail, of course it does. But the point here is, don't feel restricted of where you currently are. Know that there is a way that you can move forward. There is a way you can get something better. I believe everyone can do this. And this is something I'm genuinely passionate about. I've worked with, if I haven't already mentioned in this video, I've worked with people that are close to me, my family, people in close personal relationships that have implemented this strategy. And this is just something I've followed, and this is something I picked up early on in my IT career. So I spend half my time in IT, I spend half my time doing this and helping guys become the best they can be. But my point was going to be that I've seen it happen with so many people, and so many people these days are not willing to take a risk, right? You may have heard of the sunk cost fallacy, but that is the more time you put into something, you justify staying in it just based on the time you've spent in it. People do this in relationships, they do this in jobs, they do this in all areas of their life. And I say to hell with that, because actually a lot of the stuff you already spent getting to that place, maybe relationships are a bit different, we could talk about that in a separate video, but especially in your career, a lot of the stuff you accumulate in that job, you can transfer onto another job. Now, some might say, but what if you're earning a certain amount and you don't want to take a pay cut? I'm going to say honestly, I truly believe this, you might not have to take a pay cut. Like there are, like I said earlier, you could move across to an industry where you think it's different on the surface, but when you look at the job description, the requirements and the duties are so similar, and actually the job is in high demand. Maybe the thing that you're doing, it scales, right? Like in IT, if you're becoming a developer or something, you can scale that job, right, into working on harder and more complicated things over time. You're going to get better and better at the job, so you can code in a shorter space of time. It just gets better and better over time, right, if you really want to push it. Okay, so getting back to my point, you might not have to take a pay cut. Okay, now if you do, this is where you can work out What are you willing to, what's the pay cut and this is kind of a bonus step, I guess, if you have to take a pay cut, or you may have to take a pay cut, I guess is the bonus step. Work out what you're willing to go down to. Again, this is something I've worked with people close to me. They shifted industries and their pay went up. Some of them it stayed the same, okay? And for some of you, it may have to go down, but if money is something that's important to you still, but you want to find something more fulfilling, maybe, within 5 years, you can be where you're at or surpass it and be so much happier, right? And be so much more fulfilled, okay? Now, I want to recap on the steps, and then I just want to kind of summarize the last step one more time because I think it's really key. So step 1 was list out your pros and cons of your current job and also the strengths and passions you have. Step 2 was send out and apply for an X amount of jobs, send out CVs a week. Step 3, map out where you do and don't want to be 3, 6, and 12 months from now based on step 1 and 2. And step 4 is accept that there is no perfect job. And I want to hammer home this point. I like to think of it like this, and I want to end on this. We get to choose our stress. A lot of us in modern society, especially in first world countries where we have a lot of opportunity, especially in democratic societies like where we have a chance to move up the ladder in capitalist societies, you get to pick what you do, okay? Now, there is an argument about ability level, and I don't really want to get into that right now. Actually, let's do it, right? Because I know someone's going to write a comment and go, well, not everyone can do everything. And I agree with that as well. But I do believe that people can do a lot more than they're currently doing. And sometimes they just don't know it because they don't put themselves out there, or they have these predispositions about themselves or from other people. And that's why I put together the previous steps. It's worked for me, it's worked for other people, and that's why I made this video. But I truly, deeply believe we choose our stress in life. So it's just about picking the stress you feel is worthwhile dealing with. That's the way to frame it. It's not the job that's going to make me happy all the time. It's not even the job that's going to make you fulfilled 100% of the time. It's the job that gives you stress that you feel is worth it. Because every job is stressful, right? Like, I've heard a better term. You probably all heard the phrase, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's BS. I've heard a much better phrase, which is find a job you love. It will be hard work, but the tools that you have will feel a lot lighter in your hands, right? And that is going back to my point about the stress. Find a better and better job where you think this is worth it. You end a long, hard day and you think, this is worth it. I'm getting towards a deeper goal, a deeper mission. I'm helping someone. I'm helping a company if that's something you're interested in doing. Whatever it is, you feel that deeper connection the more and more you do it. And that's where you get the fulfillment. That's where you get the meaning. That's where you actually get a deeper mission in life from just turning up to do a job that gives you no fulfillment, gives you so much stress, you don't think it's worth it, and you're only staying in it because you've bought a bunch of crap that you don't actually need, and you're just doing the job to sustain that crap, right? And I truly believe that if you're in a position in life where you feel like you've got so much to lose if you were to make this kind of move, just complete the steps, right? I'm not saying to take the job, complete the steps. Because I do believe people have the time to send out their CVs. I do believe people have a certain amount of time every week to jump on an interview and have a conversation. And you don't know what could come of it. So what is the worst that can happen? Like I said before in the video, comment below if you think I'm delusional, if you disagree with me. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell like I said before. And there's probably going to be a video here and a video here. Check those out and I'll see you in the next one.